Yeah, just enter it. KPI. But after this development
I love your name. One of my best friends. What is this session called?
How are you? Good. I'm Sonia. Hello, Sonia. Oh no, I'm speaking. RT prayer. Right? Oh, beautiful. I'm just thank you. Okay. What's in the morning too, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Prayer. Thank you.
And as part of that, you learned this. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I wish I put my face on Puja is the whole ceremony.
Yeah. Puja is the actual
prayer part,
individual.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
so much doesn't exist. But yeah,
that's wonderful. Oh, thank you. Where are you living?
London.
Okay.
You are a modern.
Well,
I could say that, but it's still pretty
where were you born and raised?
Yeah.
You were born in
Yeah. That's right, because I just got the tail end of it.
Okay, yeah. So there's supposed to be 4 speakers and only 2 were there. But then they ended like 20 minutes early. And they went meeting because meeting was this session.
Instead of holding
So it started 20 minutes early.
this other session was sick.
Hi. Are you going to sit here? Okay. I put my stuff over here and do some photos and videos and stuff. You're welcome to sit there. I'll just pull another chair.
I was just wondering what the
Just completed. The next one is about to start. Oh yeah, just
We're done.
And you all are having 12 minutes.
There's only two plates. Would anyone like to move forward? It's really hard to speak to a really large room when you don't want to. Yes, for sure. We'll start because it's already behind time. So you're starting and I'm watching. Where are you sitting?
How are you? I'm Sonia.
When Kingsley.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Your mum's coming behind it. Okay.
Really?
Feel like president?
Yeah. I grew up in
Okay.
I'm from New Mexico. Okay, why not? So what's this?
Okay. Hi everybody. Positive attitudes drive performances. They certainly do. I don't know about you guys. It wasn't always like that for me. And without labouring the point in this session as much as I did the last, Up until 6 years ago nearly, I would have done absolutely anything and everything to convince people I was a positive-minded person. And I think deep down, I really was, but I just got lost along the way and mentally declined to the point that my physicality declined to the point that I self-medicated with alcohol, and the rest, as they say, is history. So without labouring that point too much just now, and I'm happy to talk about it later, suffice to say that if I make a mistake, as I've just said in the last session, please excuse me because I'm not 6 while September, which was the day I chose to live instead of die. And in that I mean I was given 24 hours to live. I clearly declined the offer, and which has led me to being in front of you amazing people at Women's Economic Forum again for the second time. I came last year as well, and because 3 years into my sobriety, into my recovery from my mental health issues, more than my addiction I think, to be fair, I suddenly realised that there had to be more to this life than just being. And by being, for me now, being present in the moment, I fully get what that is. Whereas my previous interpretation of being was to live a life on autopilot. And you know, you've ever got in a car and you've driven from A to B and you get out and you go, how the hell did I just get here? Yeah, pretty much 52 of my 52 years of life, up to the point that I was admitted to hospital, have been run on autopilot, because the story I was telling myself was there's nothing wrong with me, I'm not insane. I had 4 nervous breakdowns by the time I was 13, and whilst I was never deemed insane, my father used to say I was one sandwich short of a picnic. But I embraced that to the point of obsession, because it was my personal remit to convince anybody and everybody that I was that positive person that they thought that I was. I built a carefully crafted facade which hid the truth. I was actually never a secret drinker. It was never a secret that I had nervous breakdowns, multiple. But I hid behind humour. I still use humour greatly today. It's my default setting, I can't help it. Amongst other things that my father, late great father, said was I sometimes need a licence for this mouth, so if I offend anybody I do apologise. However, positive mental attitude. I was positive. Some would say I was mental, and I certainly had an attitude. However, these days that's all true in the truest sense of the word. Procrastination and the story I told myself kept me rooted where I was, stuck exactly where I said I didn't want to be. I never had enough time. I was never well enough, pretty enough, happy enough, rich enough, educated enough. I was never enough. What a load of rubbish. We're all, as I said in the last session, are enough, whoever and whatever we are enough. We don't need to apologise, excuse, justify or explain ourselves ever, in my humble opinion. But in doing that, we also have to take responsibility for the choices that we make with our lives. This mind of ours is the most powerful tool that will ever exist. You can forget Apple, you can forget Google, Microsoft, all that business. There isn't an operating software system yet to be invented that supersedes the brain that we have. The brain that we have, which controls the mind that is ours to control. But we have to become aware of it, and in doing so, we need to develop positive attributes and characteristic traits, and we need to take consistent, persistent, positive action. Does that make sense? We can't go through life living on autopilot, because one of these days you're going to take your eye off the road, so to speak, and you're going to crash. I crashed and burned multiple times. I didn't learn. Einstein said the definition of insanity is repeating the same mistake over and over again and expecting a different result. You would think after 3 nervous breakdowns I'd learned my lesson, but hell, I'm greedy and I never do anything by half, so I just tried for a 4th just in case. And do you know what? The journey wasn't any better. If anything, it was worse, because it declined into alcoholism and I very nearly killed myself. So these days I have 2 4 o'clocks in my day, 4 a.m, 4 p.m, you know, and I make sure that I use every single second. Does anybody know incidentally how many seconds we have in a day? I do. 86,400 seconds every day. No return, no deposit, no overdraft, no second chances. Somebody said to me the other day, well, you had a second chance. I said, yeah, but I was lucky. Largely, we have one shot at this life, this journey through what we call life, I should say. 86,400 seconds every one day. If I gave you, Michelle, 86,400 US dollars and said to you, there you go, my friend, that's my gift to you, please spend it wisely. Would you do it? Would you do it particularly if I said to you, if you can spend 70,000 of those US dollars today, I'm going to come back at the end of the day and I'm going to reclaim the other 16,000, you'd do it even more, wouldn't you? Absolutely. You would be amazed the affect that effect has on the people I work with today. Time is money. It's a cliche, and I personally don't like it as an analogy for my life. But when I use it like this, if you had £86,400 to spend every single day with the precursor that it had to be not illegal and not immoral, always have to put a little disclaimer in there just in case, yeah, you would spend it to the effect that would have the best effect on your lives. Newsflash. We are all of us richer the minute we open our eyes by 86,400 seconds. Forget the monetary value. Positive attitude, when applied to a life that we live intentionally, as opposed to on autopilot, has so much more value than any number of noughts at the end of your bank account, assuming they're in the black and not in red in the first place. Yeah? Our lives, when we get into deficit in our lives, then we exhibit signs of overwhelm, stress, burnout. I know, I've done it often, you know, practiced quite a lot. I can do this, I can do that. No, I can't. But I would say yes when no would suffice. I would have said yes when it would have been infinitely more sensible to say, do you know what, I really can't do this, but do you know what, I never did. And that contributed to my mental health, ill health. It certainly contributed to my overwhelm and stress, which in turn contributed to my alcoholism. But you know what? That was all my fault. Stephen Covey said, we're not defined by our circumstances. We're defined by how we react to them. Never a truer word was spoken in my particular case, because I spent far too long buying into the story I was telling myself, a story that I had written on the back of something that happened to me in childhood. I blamed somebody else. Then my mental health was their fault, therefore my alcoholism, which was my mental health's fault, was also their fault. And then they went and died. How rude. And apart from anything else, they were teetotal. You know? The stories we tell ourselves get us into trouble, especially when it's a negative story. We've all had the instances, yes, where we're really happy and we try something and we love it so much we want to do it again. And certainly that's how addictions start. But in a positive sense, we're far more likely to run towards repeating something that we enjoyed, rather than stepping back from something that distressed us, that we probably can't even remember the root cause for. To adopt positivity as part of a lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle. Somebody said to me the other day, that's just so you make it look so easy, you're always so positive. Really? Ask the husband. Ask the kids. I have bad days these days, I have shocking days, I have duvet days. I think, you know what, I can't do this today. The difference is I don't unpack and stay there anymore, because I am mindful, ever mindful, that my emotional bank account to use that day is ticking away every single second. This moment, that one, that's your life. If you're waiting for the right time to do anything and expect any type of positive change in your life, this is it. This is it. We could walk out of here today, and increasingly likely, because we're in Delhi, no disrespect, and get run over by a car. I spent a long time in the traffic yesterday going, holy shit! Yeah? Cows in the road, people just having conversations in the middle of the road while cars are going like that. But do you know what? That's why I love India so much. They are so accepting of everything. They accept that what is just is. That's not such a bad remit to live your life by, in my opinion. I procrastinated far too long, historically. Procrastination for sure is the thief of time, but it also is very generous. It leaves enormous gifts of regret. If you don't want to have that list that we have, the 10 regrets, top 10 regrets of the dying, if you don't want to be on that top 10 list when it comes to your turn to shuffle off this mortal coil, you have to make those changes now. Doesn't matter, it's never too late to rewrite the next chapter, let alone the ending of the story of your life. It just isn't. But because I got to 33 by nervous breakdown number 4 in this brain of mine, my life was already over. I didn't have any grandchildren at 33, I've got 5 now. I keep asking the kids, do they not know what's causing it? But you know what? I should have had that conversation when they were about 10. Anyway, seriously, missed opportunities. We miss opportunity, it surrounds us any and every day. Good, bad or indifferent days, all are surrounded and full of opportunity. It's up to us to make sure that we use our emotional bank account 86,400 seconds wisely and make the most of it. There isn't any reason, not one single reason why we can't any of us do that. We succumb to overwhelm and stress and burnout and pressures of the modern day life. Stress, singularly the biggest killer attributable in the Western world for unexplained and unexpected premature death. And by that, read heart attacks caused by stress. You know, heart attacks caused by obesity, caused by poor food habits because we don't have the time to eat properly. All attributable in one way or another. Back to the fact, take away the labels, back to the fact that we're not living our lives intentionally. We're living them on automatic pilot. Don't waste another single second, ladies. Beat procrastination at its own game and grab every single one of your 86,400 seconds and make it count. It might just be the one decision that changes your life for the better. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am Satinder. I am supposed to be the first speaker, but as Sue has rightly pointed out, the traffic. Yeah, and I was not very far. As you can see from my designation, I'm working as a headmistress in one of the schools. And Sue was talking about 5 grandchildren, Sue? I have 240 children, all my grandchildren. Every day, I'm working as a headmistress in one of the schools, which is a junior school. And the topic, you must be wondering what she has to do with the topic. What is positive attitude? What that has to do with the school? Friends, I think the seeds for an attitude are laid at that very particular level where we are teaching the children. When I was called by the forum, they told me to choose a topic. And I sift through various topics. This was the most befitting topic which I could speak upon, you know, and relate to, because this is one thing which is diminishing in this present generation. Why? Because their parents are not you and me. Their parents are the laptops, is internet, the phones. You ask them eat food, they are sitting and eating food with whom? The phones, the TV. Most of the times, the mothers are putting the morsels in the mouth of the child, and the child is not looking at the mother, looking at the TV. That is the attitude we are giving to the children. So I thought that this is the right time to, you know, talk about with all these elite people sitting in the forum here, to this particular topic, for which the seeds are sown at a very young age. May I request you to just move forward, just go one tap forward. We always talk about empty glass, glass full, half. We talk a lot about glasses, isn't it? Can we just keep moving? Yeah, sorry. I have a beautiful person to help me around. Thank you so much. Actions and thoughts are put into that glass every day, which becomes the habit of a child. It's a very common quote which we read everywhere. But I'm going to give you a different perspective of it. which gradually becomes the character of the child, and then when the character is built, it becomes his destiny. I want to ask each one of you to introspect and see. I'm a little serious because Sue was so jovial and helped, it was such a happy session. I'm going to take it a little serious aspect of it, yeah, deviate it a little bit, yeah. But I think I want to touch that particular chord where we can, think once again. That what are we giving to our children, which is going to be their destiny. Their destiny is going to be their attitude, the positive attitude which we have to give it to that person. We have to erase this can't from them. I can't do it, ma'am. I can't climb the mountain. I can't do this. I can't hold the pencil. I deal with this particular aspect every day in the classrooms. It is not only in India. I have travelled far and wide. I have travelled all around the world. I have seen this attitude of the children, that first thing when you tell them, come on, let's do this, out of, say, about a class of 20 children, there will be 2 or 3 who will always come back with this answer, I can't, ma'am. Can I do it? How will I do it? So we have to teach them that confidence is there within you. Then only that positivity will reflect if you have that confidence within you. I want you to watch this very famous video. Yes. Ma'am, go back. Yeah. I'm not very good at, there will be a click here. Yeah, there it is. Click it. I just want you to watch this. It has a meaning. Volume. She wants to see, want you to see it once again, I think.
Repetition.
Yeah, repetition is always recapitulated. Volume.
Yeah, let's start. Then can we increase the volume? Yeah, it's okay. Then we can. I think they'll hear it. Yeah, because you'll have better feeling if you hear the sound.
She's gone out. This is the story of an eagle. Eagle has to make a hard decision. The famous flight of the eagle. Living for another 30 years. So it is the attitude, whether it is a bird or a human being or a child or any one of us sitting here, it is the attitude which we adapt, makes a lot of difference in the child's life or in our life. This is exactly what she was hitting upon, because I could hear only her talking, that it is what you determine in your life, what decision you take in your life, and when do you take that. If you say that, oh, attitude makes a lot of difference, because if you say, oh no, this, I cannot do it. I cannot stand here and talk. I cannot speak. I cannot do this. Then definitely there is this eagle for an inspiration. Because you have to go through certain pain, you have to go through certain transformation to reach and fly high in the sky. Move forward now. You liked it? So, what is the situation in today's world? I'll quickly summarize. That we have a lot of children feel. They have a lot of lack in the support from the family. They have a lot of peer pressure. They have awareness in the society. That is not giving them that positivity in life. Because the friend is saying, no, you cannot study science. You cannot take humanities. You cannot do this. I'm talking more of school scenario because I'm more touched and attached with the school. They have these attitudes. So for they have to change this positivity and bring in that change in their life. And I do talk a lot about this in my own school, around my own society and the children I'm dealing with. And it is this particular time which makes a lot of difference. We have stopped having food with our children. We have stopped having conversations with our children. Today we all are sitting together and talking so much, and we are going to exchange such beautiful ideas, understanding each other, learning from each other, grasping how we can transform ourselves. Why can't we do that with our own children and give them that positivity? Yes, ma'am. There's 2 more slides, bear with me. All because of the rat race which we are running behind. Yes, ma'am. We can skip this because it is basically in this Indian context. All these are very important because we are becoming nuclear families. We are all working together. So all these aspects are affecting us. But what we have to keep in mind is that when we touch a stone, what we are talking about? Oh, this stone is there from last so many years and it has past related to it. Next, ma'am. When we touch the flower, we feel that it has bloomed just now. It has got the fragrance, it has got the scent, we smell it, we admire it, and we say, oh, this is present. And when we touch a child, we have to think that this is the future. This is where the future of a child lies. And I'm really thankful to all of you, and it's such a wonderful to have all of you amongst us. You can mail me if you like, and if you have any suggestion. This is my mail ID. I'm working a lot with small children, and I'm working with 3+ onwards till, of course, the 12th standard children. I'm teaching them, and it's such a pleasure to have you, all of us, on this forum. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love how the universe puts us in order. The way Sue started us off, and now you talked about change. If you look in front of you, I have a card and it says, change is an emotional journey. Change is uncomfortable. And it forces you to evaluate who you are. The beauty is in the possibilities. That's from the book I just finished writing called It's Not Luck Overcoming You. And the reason we all work so well together is because, like Sue, I lived every day like it was never going to end. I lived my life till about 45 thinking I would never die. And I took my time doing the things I wanted to do. And from the outside, people thought that I was a happy-go-lucky person. But inside, the little girl who didn't have her parents at home, the little girl who didn't have the support of the people around her, the little girl who thought she was nothing, cried. I was living my life pretending to be a positive person. And in 2014, like Sue, I died. I was in a car accident, and when I came back out of that, 12 days later, I started speaking gibberish. No one understood me, and in my head, I heard everything clearly. I thought I was speaking fine, but my head had been scrambled. And it wasn't until my daughter told me, Mom, you're not making any sense. And I had to go to the doctor. The doctors told me I was perfectly fine. But every day at 2 o'clock, about 2:30, at the same time of my accident, my brain would stop working. And the doctors told me to just go home, you're fine. Now this is a person who's been
force-feeding myself positivity. I've been forcing this fake attitude out all this time. But with the brain trauma, I couldn't hide it anymore. And all my demons that I had been pushing back for so long, like Sue, I did start drinking them away. I started beating myself up. That inner voice, that critic in your head that says, you're not good enough. Why are you doing that? You can't do that. The voices of the kids today you were talking about have in their heads and around them every day. I had them stuck in my head, and I wasn't able to communicate. Now, what was really, really amazing about this, because I see it as my blessing, it was my wake-up call. You see, I'm a singer. I put in my analogy as I was driving. So I was driving along, minding my business, when out of the orange-colored sky, because it was a beautiful day, flash, bam, alakazam. My life flashed before my eyes. For 8 months, I could not speak. I lost all my memories, and I had to reinvent myself. And saying that out loud scares me, because I have no recollection of any of that time gone. And so when people say, oh, I'm so sorry you lost your memories, I say, don't be. Because the old me, the one that my friends and my family told me I was, I'm no longer. I'm the true, happy, smiling lady in front of you. I'm ridiculously happy, right, Abital? I'm always happy because now I know my 86,000, how many? 400 seconds count. Positive attitude, driving you forward. Take lessons from, like Sue and I, when you realize that you can die by walking out this door and tripping down the stairs. You live every day. In the past 4 years, if you had met me 4 years ago, I was a scared woman hiding behind a smile, running political campaigns, trying to change the world through other people. Now, I'm in the front, and I'm going to help everyone that comes by me realize that every second counts. You don't have tomorrow. You look at me now, and then try to search me from 4 years ago. I was non-existent on any platform. You look for me now. I have done a TEDx. I wrote 2 books. People say, how do you do this? How did you do this? It's impossible. I can't. You're different. No, I'm not. I've just seen death look at me. And last year, when I said, oh, well, I finished my TEDx, I finished my book, I can relax, and I kind of pulled back to almost the old me, I found out I had breast cancer. And I went, whoa, really? What are you trying to get me to do? So again, I fought that, I won, and now I know. My mission is to not stop pushing the message that you are the driving force of you. You are the change agent for you. Don't look for anyone else to tell you how to do it. It's your path, only your path. And unfortunately, it hurts. It won't be easy. And I can almost guarantee you the way you're supposed to go, if it's the easy way, it's probably not the way you want to go. If it's difficult and it looks like it has a lot of challenges, I promise you, doors will open if you allow them to. In the past 4 years, I've accomplished more in my life than I thought I ever would. When I was a child, I was told, why do you want to go to school? You're just going to be barefoot and pregnant anyways. When I got accepted to the military, the Air Force Academy, my father said, why would you take money and a job from a man who needs to feed his family? You stay home. Now, I'm an educator. I love knowledge. I feed on anything I can grow from. And to be told that as a child, it carried on to my life. So when you are thinking about what you want to do in life, think about what is running through your head. Whose voice? That inside voice, it's got a name. Who is that in your voice? And what happened in your life when you heard it? And reevaluate, how true is that word today? Think about it. With my dog fell off. But when you're thinking about that inner critic in you, it's shocking when you find out who it really is. I'm going to talk about my book. I have a mastermind going on, and I had some people join the mastermind, and we talked about it. And everyone said, I know exactly who my inner critic is. I know who's keeping me from being happy. I said, oh, really? Who? Oh, my dad, or my mom, or my big sister. No, it's you. There are three things in the world. There's God's control, your control, right? And the other person's control. Control you. Control the way you react to other things. So that positive attitude, it can only come from you. One of the things I learned when I was trapped in my head is meditation. Yes, I was too busy to ever meditate. I had too many things to do. But when I was locked in my head, it was the only thing I had to do was sit and shut up. Sit, shut up, listen. And one of the things I found, and I don't know if you've ever done it, but you want to play? Yes. Okay. Yes. Put your feet flat on the floor. Can you still hear me if I leave the mic? Yes. Okay. Put your feet flat on the floor. Sit up straight, relax your shoulders. And I want you to close your eyes, put your hands on your knees, or on your thighs. And breathe deep. In. Out. In. Out. Now I want you to feel whatever you're feeling, feel it inside your body. Do you feel something? What is that feeling? Don't put a name to it, but where is it? Do you feel it is in your stomach? Is it in your heart? Now feel that feeling and love the feeling that you feel. Now, if you'd like, change it to any feeling you would like. And in my case, I like to change it to something that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Now feel that feeling, and it's turning into a bright light, and it gets brighter and bigger. And as it fills inside of you, and it goes all the way up to your toes and your fingertips. And it's this big, warm, fuzzy light. That is your happiness. That is your power. That is the voice inside of you that says you can. Your love, your beauty. Now I'm going to count to 2, and I'll let you all come back real quick. So 1, you are power. You are love. You are everything you already need in you. 2, I want you to open your eye, or rub your hands together, Warren, and put them over your eyes. And then open your eyes into your hand and realize that you are everything you need. Thank you for playing. I did that really fast. It's normally much longer. But did you feel that heat that comes in you? Whenever you feel stressed out, feel the feeling in the feeling, and then make it push until it's bright and it pushes out into you. And that is the light that you need to capture whenever you feel agitated, angry, whatever. You can change your feeling because the power is in you to change how you feel. And we don't have our title anymore. But positivity to control your possibilities in life. It's up to you. Take every day, every moment of the 86,400 seconds and make them count. Thank you.
We do not have a fourth speaker? I don't think so. Sujay? Is Sujay available?
Oh, you guys want to have a question answered?
So much of positivity is being spread, right?
Yay!
We are so satisfied with what we heard.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Well, do you have any questions for all 3 of us?
Yes, ma'am.
Satinder?
Yeah,
Is that his name?
Yeah.
What is, especially when you're working with the kids, like
Yeah.
what is one key thing where you start to help them shift from I can't to I can?
Very simple, that yes you can. Just a simple word. When they come to you and they say, I can't do it, ma'am, I can't do it. Usually they call me big man. Not because of my size, because I have sisters, maybe because of that, but sometimes maybe because of my size also. First thing is that I have, the children, they are very small, 3 plus, 4 plus when they say. There's difference between when 4 plus says, there's difference between when an elder child says. When the 4 plus comes and says that I can't do it, or I can't climb the stairs, or I can't stay without my mom, what do you think is just a pat on their back, bringing them close to you, that warmth you give, that's what she says. She says, spread the warmth. That translates into their positivity, and suddenly they'll say yes. Mostly they are fussy eaters, because oh, ma'am is also going to eat with you. Their positivity comes to them. It is the personal touch. But when it goes down to senior children, where they are about 18 years or 12 years or 16 years, whatever the age, beyond 10 years, it becomes little difficult to change their set of mind. So for that, you have to give them examples and you have to sit with them. Again, for all the positivity which we have to spread, it has to come from within, but then you should have somebody to talk to you and understand you. For any kind of positivity to be spread around, we have to discuss, we have to talk, and then that's a very thin line between understanding and not understanding. That's what we do in the school. That personal touch we give each other. I hope that answers.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For each of the, oh, go ahead, sorry. No, you go.
Yeah, so,
I question very for Michelle and pursue. You said up until that catalytic point, which turned everything, and yours were both near-death experiences, you lived in a state positive life. So my question to you would be, it actually took that extreme point, but how did that work for us in the room? We're not going to have an extreme death point, you see what I mean? Because that's what
Learn from the extreme points.
God forbid,
God forbid that would happen. So that's why I share the story. That's why Sue shares the story, so that you don't have to repeat the process, because it's a horrible way to find out.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think things have to necessarily be near death. For me, that we all have experience of paradigm shifts, assassination, death, that kind of thing. When the world changes its world, we collectively changes its worldview, and the world shifts on its axis, and humanity is never the same for whatever reason. We all of us have those moments every single day, but because we're operating automatically, we miss the clues. And I said to everybody, I don't know about you, Michelle, but look for the lesson
In everything.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Every single thing is something to teach us, largely about ourselves. And if we spot the little lessons along the way, hopefully, like Michelle says, you don't have to learn the real lessons at the end of it. We have paradigm shifts within ourselves when we're open to the possibility and accepting that, much like the Indian rage, just accepting that it is. Life's hard anyway. It's hard for everybody. We make it so much harder because we're striving for perfection. We're striving for the bigger house or the faster car or the fancy holidays, and we put pressure on ourselves. We're that busy applying pressure to ourselves, possibly because we don't want to think that other people don't like us. Or yes, clearly we've got families and we're employed and have a significant responsibility, but we lose sight of the fact that this is our life, and the lessons are there every single day. I think what happens in people in the cases like Michelle and I, your sense of self-awareness becomes heightened. You're suddenly aware of your own mortality, and for me, it's not just about me anymore. My husband's here today. We have 3 grown children. We have 5 grandchildren. I wouldn't have met 2 of the grandchildren had I not gone to my GP the day I did, because I would have been dead. However, when I survived and they told me I was still dying, that's when I had my paradigm shift. I didn't know. For me, I can explain it only like this. When somebody tells you you're dying, you suddenly see everything with clarity and focus you've never experienced before. And I made an intention at that split second that I didn't know if, how, or when I was going to walk out of that hospital.
for change, not only for me, but for my husband and my family, and it became of paramount importance to me, I'm sure the same, in fact you said it, to pay it forward. But individually, look for the clues, look for the lessons. Don't wait until you have no alternative to change. Take the chance to choose to change right now.
I'll just add to that. It is both of them have got personal experiences, and that's how they change into positivity. But as I told you, that the seeds have to be sown when children are young.
Because my seed is so negative.
Yeah, then she have to change into positivity. But then you have to tell the children all the time, yes, you are capable of doing it. Yes, there is. That positivity is not what you can, take a pill and then it comes automatically, or you have to go through harsh experiences in life. We have to tell our children every time that, if this is not a possibility, this can be. If this is not there, this can be. There's always an alternate. And you have to sow those seeds in the children. And you don't have to, obviously, not always go through dire consequences to, learn that, I have to change into a positive individual. So that's not exactly the crust of the.
I mean, everything. We're born with an innate set of behaviours. Children will naturally suckle towards them.
And it's not just children. Not just children.
It should become a habit.
Every time you hear
before it becomes a
negative,
necessity.
for every negative thing you hear, you need to hear 10 positives and negatives
Correct.
to reverse it.
Make a balance
So
of it.
even if you hear people at work and you feel it, make sure that even if you have to tell it to yourself, you tell it to yourself. But adults and children, we have to be intentional of being positive.
I say to people all the time, children, every single person in this room and in the entire planet, we were born as joyful souls. We're born resilient. If a child wasn't resilient, he would never learn to walk. Because the first time it fell down, it would stay down. If we were born as adults, with the body of a baby and the brain of an adult, most of us would spend our lives crawling because we got fed up falling down. We need to be who we were born to be before the world and His Father showed us who we should be. Because it's our life, and no disrespect to husbands and children and employers and business partners. You have to learn to make it fit. Our lives are a jigsaw. It's up to us how we piece together the jigsaw of ourselves and our lives. And if you have to be a broken self, it does become more difficult. What you have to do is you have to unlearn everything you thought you knew about yourself.
So I appreciate all of you sharing your stories, and each of you have had transformational stories, but now you've dedicated your life to turning it around and sharing it with others. So I'd love to just hear from the three of you, what's one miracle or transformational story of one of your clients or students that you've worked with? A short snippet from everyone would be really wonderful.
I had a child whom when he entered my school, everybody said that he's a challenged child and he will not be able to, pick up pencils and do work. And the child, of course, was a very small child. He did not know what is happening with him. But the entire negativity lied with the parent, with the mother and the father. They said that, I don't know, you don't understand any of it, that he was born like this only. That he was born with this, he will not be able to write, he will not be able to hold the pencil. My first point was to talk to the parent and tell them that what you are saying is absolutely wrong. The child has got immense capability. He came to me when he was just 4 years old, and now he's in 9th standard, and the child is able to write. Of course, his conversation, his speech is not very clear, but he is in our school with the mainstream. He is along with the other children, and of course, facing some challenges. Of course, you cannot be, but there is a lot of positivity in that child. He says that yes, I will be able to do it. If other children are playing football, I will always see him, trying to run towards the football and trying to kick. So that change was a big change in my life also. If he can do it, if that child can do it, anybody on this earth, there is no deformity or dysfunction in our body or anywhere. It is all here in the brain. Yes.
For me, in terms of unlocking people's mindset, potential, because we all have a potential we can fulfill. We won't all be brain surgeons. We all have a potential we can fulfill individually, 100%. And we stop ourselves. For me, one of the most moving and humble experiences of recent years was when a lady got in touch with me on the back of something that we'd exchanged to tell me that, well, her actual words were, Sue, please don't stop doing what you're doing. Because of you, I've just come back from the police and because of my bill for 18 years of historical sexual abuse.
Oh.
That lady was in her 60s, and she'd been carrying that around from the age of 2 to nearly 21. And it had taken her 40 years to do something about it. And this wasn't on the back of the Me Too or anything like that. We're going back a few years now. But her life has never been the same again. And I don't mind admitting, I was that woman that day. I actually cried because I knew at that point for me that was yet another paradigm shift. If something that I had to say was powerful enough for somebody else to take charge, how about to get power back in their life? For me, if I never do another good thing, I'm going to die happy.
I have to stand. I'm not a sitter and talker. With me, it's one of the people that were in that mastermind I told you about in this class. She said, I don't really want to take your class, but I really like you, so I want to read your book and be in your class. I said, okay. But by chapter 4 in our session, she said, Michelle, I didn't even think I had a problem with my attitude or with my inner critic. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, it came upon me that I was living a lie, that all the people around me knew me for someone who I wasn't. And she says, I was trying to please first my parents and then my friends, and then to keep more friends, I kept doing this. And so I kept playing this role of who I wasn't. And she says, but now I realize I don't have to anymore. If they don't love me for me, they don't need to love me. And I can move on. And she applied for a job she didn't think she was going to get because her self-confidence said she wouldn't get it. She got it. Now she's in charge of 12 teachers that she never thought she would because she's a junior teacher. And her life perspective has completely changed. That has been my magic moment because she was someone who came to me saying she didn't have a problem. And she realized that she wasn't living the life she wanted.